I think that it's going to come from the Republican side. I've been saying that for a long time. The Democrats have no substance anywhere, anyhow. There's no progressive caucus. There's no nothing. They have no substance. They're not on the left. They're not labor. They're not anything. The Republicans, while I disagree with the majority of everything that they do, they have their positions and stand for whatever they stand for. And now they're seeing a split amongst them. So any chance of any sort of populism, and I've been saying this for a couple of years, is going to come from the Republican side. I'm not saying it's going to align with us in any real meaningful way, but that's going to be the only example of any sort of class shift coming from our duopoly, will come from and on the GOP side.
I don't know what you mean by this, Gezin. You're going to have to explain, because that's
not in this country. They're not.
In fact, the overwhelming majority in this country is independent. People don't want to be part of a two-party system anymore. And that's the reality that I think is hard for a lot of people to settle on. I think there are way more people that were in the GOP supporting Trump that are recognizing that this is a country that has to break free of that, whereas there are still way too many that are Democrats that want to cling to this idea that if we just make this country blue, it'll be all better. And it's not true.
That's not how this works. And as somebody who is moving from somewhere blue to Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, I can tell you that it's just not, the labels are not serving us, and they're completely misguided and incorrect.
Yeah. I mention this because I haven't seen anything of real substance from the Democrats, period. They threw Zoran under the bus. They propped up Spangberger and Sherrill. Shocking. They continue to prove that they will not do anything. And Shaitan Dadan is right. Republicans fear their base and Democrats obey. And that's true. And we saw it. We saw it with Debbie fucking Wasserman Schultz. We saw the people down here. Debbie's really not that bad. You don't understand. We have to beat the Republicans. Like, everybody's just a wimpy Yenta-like person. Like, that's pretty much what the Democrats are. Not everywhere, but in a lot of places, especially South Florida. So it's understandable that this is what's going on. Notice how we don't even talk about the scandal that's going on right now. And we'll see what happens down the road. Because again, it's just like Jacob said. Elections matter, but if you think the change you're going to get is going to come from the ballot box, it's not. It's going to come from the people on the ground. That's how it's going to happen. And the reason I bring this up is
what are we covering? What are we finishing with? We're going to finish strong, finish big.
We're going to finish with the most honest acting politician in the United States right now, going after one of the biggest shitbags in all of the entire Trump administration, a person who I personally believe was honeypotted, and that's why he's acting the way he is.
Director Patel, I watched some of your Senate hearing yesterday when Senator Kennedy asked you, you've seen most of the files, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these women to besides himself? You replied, according to the transcript, there is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone else. You also said somewhere in the hearing and here today that the problem is that the case files are constrained by limited search warrants from 2006 to 2007, and that the non-prosecution agreement hamstrung future investigations. Those constraints only apply to the Southern District of Florida. They do not apply to the Southern District of New York, the location of the 2019 sex trafficking indictment, which produced many things, including a series of FD 302 documents. According to victims who cooperated with the FBI in that investigation, these documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jess Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to, victims including minors, such as Virginia Roberts Giuffre, may she rest in peace. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI does. Have you launched any investigations into any of these people, and have you seen these 302 documents?
What I love about him more than anything else is that he is everything that people who spent years trying to push brand new Congress, Justice Dems, Sunrise Movement, hoping and praying that they would have some semblance of a true, unbought, unbossed maverick fighter in the halls of Congress, like this man. And this man may be the most honest, true, die-in-the-wool conservative that exists in this country. This is a man who is pro-life in the truest sense. He believes it, he lives it, but he doesn't preach it the way a opportunist shitbag like Ted Cruz does, or Mike Huckabee. He's also somebody who doesn't take corporate special interest money. And yet there are shit libs in this country who think that Debbie Wasserman Schultz, because she has a D in front of her name, is worth supporting over him. That's the two-party duopoly nonsense that we have to get out of our brain.
Yes. Let this play.
But the last thing I want to say, when you talk about some of the most important issues that matter to you, Massie lives in a part of the country that is very similar to where you're relocating to.
Oh, yeah, I know. I spent a little bit of time in Kentucky, and I've got to say, I totally get the Kentucky thing. I do. It's very beautiful there.
So let's hear what Crazy Eyes Patel has to say in lieu of all of these revelations about the Epstein Files. And apparently Thomas Massie is leading the charge against his own president that the Democrats are just trying to do for opportunistic purposes, but never did when Biden was in power. Heck, we'll take what we can get right now, am I right? So here's what he had to say.
Sir, I have asked my FBI agents to review the entirety of the Epstein files and bring forth any credible information. And we're working with Congress not only to divulge that information and produce it to you, but any investigations that arise from any credible investigation will be brought. There have been no new materials brought to me launching a new indictment.
So
I want people to also remember that the thing about Patel in particular is why, remember, he was one of those guys that all of the America Firsters wanted in this position. They wanted him here. And he did a complete 180 the second he got this role. Now, is it entirely because he's honeypotted by this?
He had a talking to. He was given a talking to. It's that simple. And he got his mind straight pretty damn quick.
Very quick.
Is the loophole here, or is it your assertion that these victims aren't credible, that the 302s maybe didn't produce credible statements that rise to a probable cause?
It's not my assertion, sir. It's the assertion of two different United States attorneys' offices from 3 separate administrations who investigated those same materials in lifetime.
Are the 302 documents in the FBI's possession?
They reviewed all that, yes, sir.
And so have you reviewed those 302 documents where the victims name the people who victimized them?
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
Then why the fuck are you in this position? What is the purpose?
Because he's following orders. He's just there. He is somebody that strikes me as they have a lot of things on. So well, again, he's very compromised.
I mean, he's got those eyes, Jen.
He's very compromised.
So how can you sit here and in front of the Senate and say there are no names?
I said
I named one today.
I said We are not in the practice at the Department of Justice FBI of releasing victims' names.
He just said the name. What in the fuck are you doing? It can't be this bad. Or maybe it is. And maybe now we're just starting to realize it.
Well, he's ridiculous. He's a clown show.
I heard for many years that they say that the fact of the matter is when it comes to business in Washington, the goal is no business. The goal is not to get anything done. And if you get anything done, it's very small, very minuscule, nothing to upset the established order. And this is upsetting the established order. The problem that they're facing is that their own people are not letting this go. The armed and dangerous part of this country is not letting this go. So when you keep talking like this, you are not gonna talk your way out of this. It's not happening. And Massie, I mean,
he knows he's not going to get anywhere with him. Like, this is one of those things that I feel like about being in the press room when, one of the tools of oligarchy are giving a press briefing. Why would you want to hear what they say? They're going to lie to you. It's the same thing with these. Why they're calling him in to get information. They know damn well he's not going to tell the truth. So that's what's just so weird to me. It's like, this is an exercise in futility.
We'll finish it up.
That is not what we do. We are also not in the habit of releasing incredible information. That's not what we do. But multiple authorities have looked at the entirety of what we have.
Okay, I got to move on here. Were you present?
He doesn't even know. He's so clearly out of his league, and it just he's not suited for that position. So yeah, it's clear that he's just in there because he's compromised and is easily controlled.
This is also what happens when, people that we're friendly with, like Luke Rakowski, part of the Tim Pool coalition, the ones that were very aggressive about, we want Kash Patel in charge of the FBI and he's going to
right.
Epstein Files. And it's like, this brings the entire conversation full circle of Ilhan Omar looking over at AOC, basically saying, you don't belong in the big leagues.
You're not serious.
Like, you think Kash Patel belongs in this position?
No, he's ridiculous.
I mean, I agree with you. I think Kash Patel probably has a laundry list of shit under his fingernails that they're like, you make one wrong move and that gay encounter that you had that we have on camera, well, that's coming out. That thing that you did overseas with trying to purchase an underage so-and-so, that's coming out as well. It's very rarely, if ever, do people that are completely square and completely honest, like Massie, possibly Zoran, ever get to positions of power like that, ever. It's almost an accident when it happens. That's why they have to try so hard to get him out. They did everything they could to beat Zoran. They couldn't do it. They're going to throw $20 million in a primary against Massie. I believe they're going to fail, just like they're going to fail to primary Marjorie Taylor Greene. But they're going to try, because what else can they do? The system is collapsing. And not that we want people to get hurt, not that we want people to suffer. But at some point, you can't put a Band-Aid over a gaping wound. You either rip it off or you will inevitably collapse under the weight of its pain.